The private dining hall of the upscale restaurant was decorated like a fairy tale. Pink and gold balloons floated gently under the soft light, the long table was covered in elegant cloth, and a majestic birthday cake sat in the center, covered with roses, glittering candles, and a little sugar princess that looked just like her. But despite all the sparkle, 8-year-old Ella Blake sat alone. Her small, delicate frame rested in a customized wheelchair. She wore a beautiful pink dress with ruffled sleeves, her brown curls pinned with tiny butterfly clips. But her face was solemn, the room echoed with silence, every chair around the table was empty. Her nurse, Claire, stood a few feet away, quietly watching with sympathetic eyes. Ella's legs hadn't moved since the accident, the one that took her ability to walk and her mother in one cruel moment. And since then, things had never been the same. Her father, Richard Blake, a powerful and respected CEO, buried himself in work. Friends had slowly stopped coming around, invitations got ignored, pity replaced affection. Today was her birthday, a day she had circled on her calendar hoping this year would be different. But again, no one came, not even her dad. She looked at the cake, the candles still unlit. Her tiny voice whispered into the empty room, maybe next year. Claire turned to wipe away a tear, praying that anyone would show up before this moment became a memory Ella would carry forever. Across the restaurant, sitting at a small table by the window, a humble man and his little boy had just been seated. David Miller, a hardworking mechanic and single dad, had saved up for this dinner for weeks. It wasn't anything grand, just burgers and fries for his son Liam's 7th birthday, but to them, it was everything. Liam bounced in his seat, eyes lighting up when he spotted the milkshake on the menu. David chuckled, enjoying every moment, and then Liam froze. "Daddy, look," he pointed toward the decorated party room. They saw Ella sitting alone in front of a towering cake. The sight was striking, all the decorations, yet no guests, only the lonely child staring at her own candles. David followed his son's gaze and his smile faded. "She looks sad," Liam said, frowning. "She does, buddy," David replied gently. "Maybe she's still waiting for her guests." "She's waiting too long," Liam whispered. "Can I go wish her happy birthday?" David hesitated. "That's not our party, Liam." "But she looks like she needs someone," Liam said, already sliding off his chair. Before David could stop him, Liam clutched his own cupcake, a modest one with blue frosting, and walked bravely toward the private dining room. David sighed, got up, and followed his son. Claire, the nurse, noticed them approaching and stepped forward, unsure if she should intervene. But Liam walked up to Ella, grinning ear to ear. "Hi, I'm Liam. Today's my birthday too. Can I sit with you?" Ella blinked in surprise, then slowly nodded. Claire smiled and stepped back. David gave a small wave. "Hope we're not intruding. My kid's got a big heart." Ella smiled for the first time that day. The birthday table came alive. Liam pulled a chair next to Ella's wheelchair, placed his cupcake on the table like it was a gift, and started singing "Happy Birthday," loud, proud, and completely off-key. Ella giggled. David, now seated across the table, reached into his backpack and pulled out 2 crumpled party hats from previous birthdays. He gently handed one to Ella. "Vintage style," he said with a wink. She laughed and put it on. Soon the room was filled with chatter, laughter, and crumbs from shared cupcakes. Liam made up silly games with straws and napkins. He even gave Ella a nickname, Princess Wheels, and she loved it. Claire stepped out for a few minutes, giving them space. David noticed Ella's movements limited, careful, but also her confidence. Despite her wheelchair, she carried a quiet strength, like she was used to waiting. "Used to disappointment. You're really brave, you know," David said gently. Ella shrugged. "I just sit a lot." David smiled. "Yeah, but you smile too. That's the brave part." She looked down, touched. Liam leaned over and whispered, "You're my new best friend. Wanna be birthday twins forever?" Ella nodded. "Forever." The room that once echoed with silence now overflowed with warmth, and all it took was a cupcake, a brave boy, and a father who let his son follow his heart. Outside the dining room, Richard Blake finally arrived. His driver had rushed him over from a board meeting he insisted he couldn't miss until his calendar pinged Ella's birthday. He burst into the restaurant, phone in hand, still shouting into a call. "I'll sign the papers tonight, just get them on my desk." He paused. Through the glass walls, he saw her. Ella, laughing, her cheeks red, a birthday hat tilted on her head, and beside her a boy he didn't know. And a man. Richard froze. He lowered his phone slowly, ending the call without a word. His daughter, the one he had failed time and again, was smiling with strangers. He felt a pang in his chest, a strange mix of guilt, regret, and awe. David looked up and noticed him. For a second, there was tension, the sharp contrast between the tailored suit and his own grease-stained jeans, but David stood and extended a hand. "You must be Ella's dad. I'm David. This is my son, Liam." Ella turned and beamed. "Daddy, Liam shared his birthday with me. He made everything fun." Richard's throat tightened. I see that," he said softly. Then he looked into David's eyes and whispered, "Thank you, truly." "No need," David said, smiling. "You've got a great kid. Just don't miss too many more moments like this." Richard swallowed hard. He'd spent years building empires, chasing wealth, and fixing problems with money. But here in this room, he saw something that money couldn't buy: presence. Kindness, connection. David lit a single candle on Ella's untouched cake. He stepped back, nodding toward her. "Your moment, birthday girl." Everyone leaned in. Ella stared at the candle for a long time. The room grew still. Then she closed her eyes and whispered her wish aloud. "I wish every kid had a daddy who makes time for them like Liam's daddy does." Richard's heart broke. Tears welled up in his eyes. He knelt beside her, cupped her hand, and whispered, "Starting today, I will be that daddy. I promise." She looked into his eyes and smiled. David took Liam's hand, and began to gather their things. But Richard stopped him. "Wait," he said. "Would you two stay for dinner with us?" David looked down at Liam. Liam looked at Ella. "Only if we get more of that cake," Liam said, grinning. They all laughed. That night, the birthday dinner turned into a shared celebration. Two families from opposite worlds, brought together by something deeper than status or wealth: humanity. Weeks later, Richard and David became close friends. Ella and Liam were inseparable. Richard cut down on meetings and took Ella to the park, to the movies, and even let her race Liam in their wheelchairs. The CEO who once ruled boardrooms learned to be a father again. And the little girl who once sat alone finally found a family beyond blood, one built on love, compassion, and a single brave cupcake. In a world where wealth often builds walls instead of bridges, it wasn't the luxurious decorations or the grand birthday cake that gave Ella joy. It was presence of a kind-hearted stranger and his son, who saw her not as a lonely, paralyzed girl, but simply as someone who deserved to be celebrated. Through a small act of kindness, a shared cupcake, and a few minutes of time, David and Liam transformed a forgotten birthday into a moment of healing and connection. Their compassion opened the heart of a busy CEO who had forgotten what truly mattered. This story reminds us that you don't need riches to be rich in love, and that showing up even when it's not expected of you can change someone's life. It's a powerful testament to the idea that humanity lives in simple, heartfelt moments, and that sometimes a stranger's kindness can help a father find his way back to his daughter and a lonely little girl back to joy. In the end, Ella didn't just gain friends, she gained a second family. And Richard Blake, the powerful CEO, finally became the one thing his daughter had always needed: a present and loving dad.